Welcome to Trion's Realm. Today we're going to take a look at the Switch system settings for Joy-Con updates and testing of the Joy-Cons. Now to get to this, you want to go to System Settings, scroll down to the bottom on the left side, and select Controllers and Sensors. Now an oddity when it comes to the system update for the Switch is that for some odd reason, while the system doesn't update when you prompt it, it a lot of times won't fully update the controllers as well, and sometimes Nintendo changes some features or tweaks the controllers to make them work a little bit better. So anytime that you do a system update, I usually recommend that you scroll down and choose Update Controllers. It'll check to see if your Joy-Cons are up to date, and if they aren't, it'll actually update them with the latest firmware. Otherwise, it'll tell you if they're fully up to date or not. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't seem to know is that you can actually test your analog sticks for stick drift and other issues. Now to do this, you want to scroll down to Calibrate Control Sticks. When you select that, it'll ask you to tilt the analog stick in a direction for a couple seconds. And it'll go in and you can actually see where you can actually test and move the stick. If the sticks are working correctly, generally speaking, you will get that solid plus symbol in the center. Stick drift, you will get it where it looks something like this, where the stick is, without being touched, it's actually jittering up or down or somewhere in a different direction. What you want to do is move it around, make sure that it's actually smoothly rolling around and not giving you any issues. Now, a little known feature with the Joy-Cons is that if you have just a little bit of stick drift, but otherwise the control seems like it's working okay, you can press X and you can actually choose to recalibrate the stick. Now, when you choose to recalibrate the sticks, I only recommend doing this if you are specifically having trouble with them. Generally speaking, you should never need to do this as like a default thing. Once you choose to calibrate, just follow the on-screen instructions. And I would say there's been a couple cases where I thought an analog stick was having an issue, but once I recalibrated it, it reset everything in the controller firmware, and then it was working fine. This may also be needed if you decide to replace the analog sticks yourself. You can order new ones offline, replace them. Again, be very careful when you're doing this with your controller. But once you put them in, may not snap perfectly. All you need to do is run it through a calibration test, and then usually that fixes the problem. Basically, you have to recalibrate it because it is a new stick that's being put into the controller. Another nice feature is that you can actually test all the buttons on the controllers as well. So if you scroll down to the bottom and choose Test Input Devices, you can choose to either test the touchscreen, which rarely ever needed, or to test the controller buttons. This is far more likely something that you may need. So you simply click on that and you can hit every button on your system and make sure that they're all being picked up correctly. This includes the L3 and R3, which is when you click in the analog sticks. This is a great feature if you buy a used controller or if you're trying to fix a controller for someone, to make sure that the buttons as well as the analog sticks are fully working. Another nice feature is that you can actually change your touchscreen sensitivity. Standard is the default, that's what most people are used to, and it operates very much like a cell phone screen or a tablet screen. But they do give you an option to actually switch it to stylus. This fixes it so that if you're using a capacitive stylus, it'll work better on the screen for you. Other things that you may need but are pretty rare is calibrating the motion controls, and a function that I use in most of mine is controller vibration. If you turn it off here from the settings, it will never be enabled in any of the games no matter what happens. I like this personally because it extends the battery life of the controllers, and rumble is not really something that I need very often. But if you play something that does require it, say Super Mario Odyssey, make sure you come back into these settings and turn it back on. Otherwise, it will not kick on if you do it from the game level. You have to change it from the system settings. If this video helped you and you'd like to see more, please subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.